Hello, ID60. So this is our last informal lecture. So none of this is really going to be on a quiz or an exam. I just wanted to give you some guidance if you are interested in pursuing the staging certificate or even going into our interior design program. So what is next for you? So ID62 is the next class in the series, and it focuses mainly on the business practices of staging. So contracts, meeting with real estate agents, meeting with clients, warehousing, like where do you keep all this furniture that you're putting into these spaces, field trips, so there'll definitely be field trips to warehouses and to staged properties, and then a lot of hands-on application. So this class is in person and it is taught by a staging expert, Aileen, and her company is Style to Function, and she actually already hires a lot of our interior design graduates to work with her in her firm. So that is how we met her, and she has graciously agreed to teach the next class. She's been working in the industry for a really long time. So if you want to know more about her, you can definitely visit her site. It's Style to Function, and it gives you some more information. So super excited about the second class. So sign up for that as soon as possible. And then once you have finished that class, there is one additional internship where you will find a staging expert and intern with them for a certain amount of time. So that is how you can complete the staging program and get a certificate. So hopefully you do that and you go on to the next class with Aileen. I think it's going to be super fun. And again, much more hands-on work as opposed to lecture test, what we did in this class. And you may have decided that you want to do the entire design program, which is a much bigger program. It is a full series of classes. It has several certificates. So there's the level 1 certificate, which is really sort of foundation skills. It has level 2 certificate, which is intermediate skills. Level 3 is more advanced application of those skills that you learned in level 1 and level 2. And then we have a kitchen and bath specialization. And then we have the program that you've started already, which is the real estate styling and staging certificate. So these can also lead to AS degrees. So once you have completed all of the classes through level 3, which is ID 39, and you've done all your general education, then that can be equivalent to a AS in interior design. If you take the 3 more classes, which is the kitchen and bath classes, the 40, the 41, and the 48 that we're seeing over here, you can also get an AS in kitchen and bath. So again, if you take all 3 of these levels up to 39 and finish all your general education, you can have not only the 3 certificates, but an AS in interior design. If you do 3 additional classes, which are here, you can have an AS in the kitchen and bath specialization. Okay. The real estate styling and staging certificate for now is something totally separate, and it's not linked to an AS. And then we have some electives down there that you can pick and choose from once you kind of know what path you're going to take in your design career. So yeah, so that's our program. The first level really is introduction, where we're talking about materials that you use in interior design. You study about the history of decorative arts and interiors. ID 10 and 10L, you'll find a lot of similarities between that and what you started in ID 54. It's just a lot more depth. And then a lot of what we talked about in sort of a really brief way in ID 54, we go into in depth in full classes. So we have color theory 1, which deals more with 2D color theory, whereas color theory and design 2, you're really building models and dealing with 3D elements. ID 22, which is what we sort of call our anchor class, or the class that is sort of the golden key because it's a prerequisite, as you see here, for a lot of different classes, is drafting. So you do some hand drafting and then you jump right into AutoCAD pretty quickly. And this is really sort of the key class because it's how drawing is how you communicate your ideas. So if you don't have that skill, it's hard to go on to the other classes because you need to know how to be able to draw the design ideas. Design Communication 2 is Revit, which is again just another tool for drawing. Space Planning 1 and Space Planning 2 help you start to look at organizing space and how people move through space, in addition to learning building codes so that we're building out spaces properly for anybody who may be in a wheelchair or has a sight impairment. And also just to get people out of buildings safely. Like if there's a fire, how do we design in order to make sure that people can escape the building? Then we have ID 27, which is Rapid Viz, and that is a hand sketching class where you are sketching in pen and ink and rendering with markers. Studio One takes these classes above, so everything you learn from here on out, and is an application class where really you just have projects and you're applying what you know. Building Systems is a great class because you start to learn what's happening underneath the building, or excuse me, underneath the walls. Like the HVAC, the electrical, the plumbing, how walls are built, how roofs stay up, how they're supported. So Building Systems is a great class. Lighting, you're learning how to light a space. Design Communication. 3 is SketchUp, which is a 3D drawing class. So you're learning how to sort of take your ideas, draw them in the computer, and then render them so they're super realistic. Portfolio development should happen as you're sort of winding up your design, I should say your student design career, because you want to have plenty of work to be able to put in your portfolio. So you are creating a portfolio if you want to transfer, or if you want something to be able to show your clients if you're going out and working. So that gives you that skill set, and you actually do build your portfolio in that class. And so that is an either or class, so portfolio development or business practices. So if you're someone who is wanting to go out and start a business, then business practices would be maybe the class you prefer. We do have students that take them both, but you're only required to take one. And then the Interior Design Studio 2 is usually one project, like one major thesis project, where you're using all of the skills that you have acquired throughout your 2 years in the program and applying it to a project. So I will actually have some links to some of our Studio 2 projects that I will link in the module for you, so you can check them out if you like. And then we have our kitchen and bath specialization, where you're really just learning about kitchen and baths. They are probably the most detailed areas in the house because of all the little sort of niches, right? All the different equipment and how they're powered and how they all need to work together. So kitchen and baths are sort of what separate a decorator from a designer, someone who's had a little bit more education, just because there's so much intricacy in kitchen and baths. And then we have the real estate program, which you already know about. And then we talked about our electives. We also have this flow chart. So if you are thinking about taking the program, one of the things that's super important is that you grab one of these charts. Nikki and I both give them out all the time, so that it's a tool for you to use. But what's important is that you see that this design communication one, the ID22, which is hand drafting in AutoCAD, is like the key that opens up all these other things. So the red line is sort of the path to completion. So this is a prerequisite for SketchUp, space planning, and then space planning is a prerequisite for Studio. So this is sort of the drop down, but you really need to have this in order to open up all of these things below it. So the ones that aren't connected by the red line, you can really take in any order. We sort of recommend you take them in like the low to high order, but sometimes that's not possible with which classes are being offered in what semester. But for sure, ID22 is super important to take as early in the process as possible so that you have all of these other options open to you. To be able to complete. Okay, so that kind of explains that chart a little bit. So again, and I sort of went through these already, so I won't go through them again. But if you are looking to take classes in our regular program next semester, ID22 again is really where you want to start. But ID10 and ID10L are also good places to start. ID10 is offered online, and again, you will see some similarities to ID60. 10L is the lab that goes with 10, where you're doing more hands-on work. And then we have materials you could possibly take if it's being offered in the semester. History is an entry-level class, ID20 and ID21. So those are all our entry-level classes, with ID22 sort of being the starting point where you want to begin. So I hope to see all of you in class in person in our studio. So I hope you enjoyed the class, and we probably will chat one more time, if not just to say goodbye. But we have come to an end, so I hope you are enjoying the final assignment, and your final exam will be opening soon.